Quentin Tarantino breaks that stuff.
Sure.
Sam Peckinpah. Some of, the all-time greatest filmmakers in cinema history don't necessarily follow
That's true.
that structure.
That's true. For those of you who are looking
But Leslie
something-
Headland
Yeah, it's not that.
is not Quentin fucking Tarantino. Einstein and Rosen once predicted that if you went through a black hole, you would emerge on the other side somewhere in another time period. Mm-hmm. Now imagine the black hole is a toilet bowl, and you're swirling down it, and you emerge on the other side back in a different toilet full of shit. Because we're talking about the Acolyte again.
Sort of. All right, welcome to Gaming Dudes. This sparked from a conversation that we had with somebody else, and that conversation was about how do you define a bad show or a bad movie. My stance was The Acolyte is bad.
It's very bad.
It is very, very bad. But I wasn't talking about whether or not you enjoyed it, because you're allowed to enjoy bad things. In fact, you're allowed to not like things that are technically good.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Sure.
There's a lot of stuff that I think is technically very well done. I'm just not a fan. It's not my genre. It's not my thing. It's not my story. So I didn't follow. It's not for me.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I can buy that.
But technically, it's still well done. And then there's this. There are shows that are not technically well done, are very poorly made, and we also didn't like it. So it's like bad on top of bad on top of bad, and I don't like it. It's just awful.
And we had a friend that disagreed.
And we had a friend that disagreed.
A lot of people disagreed.
But their disagreement was, but I liked it. And that's where I think the line is, right? You're liking something or not liking something isn't really a strong measurement of whether or not something is good or bad. It's probably not even a strong measurement of if it was successful or not. Success is seen, well, when you're talking about a TV show or a movie, did it do well in the box office? Did people actually watch it? Are we talking about it online in a good way and not making fun of it all the time?
Was it a commercial or
Was it a commercial?
critical?
Yes.
Or a critical success?
Yes. So commercial success, as in a lot of people watched it, you've built fans, we talk
You made
about
your
it.
money back.
Yeah. Or critical success, the critics say, wow, how well done and all of that.
And that's not exclusive to critics.
No.
Andor has not been a financial success.
No.
But it is a critical, and I would say fan success, because there is a very loyal following that understands it is really well done.
Yes.
But it's not like mainstream Star Wars, so it doesn't have the mass audience.
Correct.
It's very different.
So it's not bringing in the massive views that I wish it would, but that doesn't mean it's not really well done.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question to those people would be, number one, do they really believe that it's good? Like our friend that said, no, I really liked it. Did he really? Does he really think it's good? Or are they afraid that if you say you didn't like it, you're not a real fan? When you've built your identity around, I'm a Star Wars guy, it's hard to say that Star Wars sucks.
That is true.
I think a lot of them are just not able to make that jump. That cognitive dissonance is something that they can't overcome. I don't want to say that it sucks because I'm a Star Wars guy.
Right, and if I say that Star Wars sucks...
Well, you're not really one of us, loser! Nobody wants to...
You're not in the club anymore.
So I don't know that I believe them when they say it's good. Like, do you remember... You might. Mid-90s, a film called Barbed Wire.
Yes!
Pamela
of course I
Anderson.
remember Barbed Wire. Pamela Anderson?
Or Tank Girl.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Tank Girl.
Barbed Wire.
Okay.
I love Barbed Wire.
Yeah.
It's one of the shittiest movies
Oh, it is so
ever
bad.
made. I can acknowledge that it's poorly written, poorly filmed, poorly acted.
Oh, yes.
Everything about it is not well done. I enjoy watching it. It was fun to watch, but I'll never tell you it's a well-made movie. And I'm not just saying it because Pam Anderson was part of my sexual awakening, and so was Lori Pett. I've wanted to fuck her for years. I can still be honest enough with myself to admit, I guess it's different. Nobody built their identity around being a Barbed Wire fan.
Well, no.
But Star Trek.
Okay.
For the longest
All right,
time,
there we go.
I did build my identity around, I'm a Star Trek. Who's your buddy Mike? Oh, you know him. He's he's got the dark hair, about my height. He's the Star Trek guy. That's well. Mike was the Star Trek guy.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly okay saying the J.J. Abrams stuff fucking sucks. It's shit. It's objectively shit. I can point out to you the ways that it's shit. A lot of people enjoy it. But
Yes.
it is still shit. And I can say it's not my Star Trek.
Yes. So here's another great example of this is really poorly done, but it still made a lot of money and people will still watch it.
Moana 2?
All the Fast and Furious movies.
Ah, shit.
So I recently watched part 11 or 9 or whatever it is.
Really?
You know, yeah, whatever. It's got Jason Momoa as the Joker, I guess, or so. It's just, it is awful.
No doubt.
Because the story goes, and then, nothing you do ties into anything you've done before. It's just a series of events, and then you roll some credits. And during there was some cars and some
It's an
action.
excuse to do a car chase.
It was just all excuses to do. It's the kind of story a child would tell.
Yeah.
And yet, it was fun. I like watching the cars blow up and Vin Diesel saying, all about family, like 5 or 7 times. And I don't know, there's something enjoyable about it. So it's fun watching it because it's so simple and stupid. But
Okay.
I can't say it's well done. Even the effects are janky. Like, everything about it is goofy.
I struggled to find something positive to say about the Acolyte. The most I could come up with is that the art direction stayed true. It looks like familiar Star Wars.
Okay.
I mean, the costumes, the sets, they look Star Warsy. Like the instant we opened, I remember clearly that first scene of that first episode and being relieved. Like,
Oh,
okay,
good. At least it
looks like Star Wars.
I think we're getting it clear.
And then it all went to shit. But that's not enough. There's fan-made fiction. There's fan movies out there that look like Star Wars.
Yes.
That's not going to hook me anymore.
There's fan stuff that is amazing, by the way. That's another episode. We'll get into that. But
That's not enough for me
No.
to say I enjoyed it. I need something more than, okay, lightsabers, yay, I recognize that. It's not going to do it anymore.
That's a thing that exists in Star Wars. I like lightsabers.
I mean, unless you're a toddler watching Teletubbies. That's all that is. That's the level of intellect. You can watch Teletubbies and it's pretty colors and sounds, and kids are dumb, so they're mesmerized by it.
Sure.
Is that what this was for? For toddlers?
I don't know. Nobody really knows who this was made for. There's another reason why it just absolutely tanked. But again, looking at it from a very technical aspect, right? So story structure, character development, character arc, setup and payoff, 3-act structure, all the things that you need these in a story if you're going to tell a story. And none of that is present in this. This is another, and then.
Now, not to say that you must follow that roadmap for a movie.
No.
You don't have to. Quentin Tarantino breaks that stuff. Sam
sure.
Peckinpah. Some of, the all-time greatest filmmakers in cinema history don't necessarily follow
That's true.
that structure.
That's true. For those of you who are looking
But Leslie
something-
Headland
Yeah, it's not that.
is not Quentin fucking Tarantino.
I'm always looking at character development and character arc, but I can go back to Robert Zemeckis and Back to the Future, which is the weirdest one to look at, but when you look at that and you look at Michael J. Fox's character, there is no arc. He is exactly the same person in the beginning as he is in the end. He does not change, but it's a very different kind of story. It's not him that changes, it's everything around him that changes. It's really intelligent. It's really well done.
But he does.
But
He
again,
shows some
it's-
emotional maturity at the end. Like by the end of the trilogy.
The whole chicken thing.
Yeah. So he's
that they just threw in on the second one and to give him a little bit of an arc. But they never needed to.
The film is so well done that it's okay.
Yeah, well, it's a different kind of character and it's a different kind of story. And if you're not going to have a character that arcs, you need a world that arcs around them.
Yeah.
Again, that takes somebody with experience and talent, and none of that is in the Acolyte.
Right. It takes Robert fucking Zemeckis.
Right. So, it fails at a technical level. It fails on a story level.
It fails on every level.
It fails on every level.
Other than some art direction and some cool CGI.
Right.
Which they just used old Ralph McQuarrie shit.
And you're like, well, the effects were good, and that helps make it. And when I asked, well, what do you consider to be a bad movie? Like, if you consider this to be good, what do you consider bad? And the bad was Daredevil with Ben Affleck. Which,
Okay, I
all right,
agree. Bad
I mean,
movie.
it is pretty bad. It's pretty awful. But one of the things he pointed out was it's really bad because the CGI is janky. I'm like, well, hold on. I went back and watched the Indiana Jones trilogy. And I watched The Temple of Doom, which is, I think, might be one of my favorites. I really like Temple of Doom.
Fuck.
I know, but it's really good. The effects are awful. The green screen is very visible. But I don't care. The story is a lot of fun. The story carries it through. I didn't need it to have the greatest special effects of all time. It's still exciting. It doesn't pull me out of the experience. As opposed to, like, say, Love and Thunder. When I watched Thor Love and Thunder, I already hated it so much. And at that point, you're just like, give me an excuse. Give me another excuse to hate you. And then there's that little goofy floating head. And you're like, oh, yeah, I hate you.
There's no way to quantify, like to give it a percentage, how important the effects are. But the original Star Trek had the shittiest special effects in the industry. And yet it became fucking Star Trek.
Yes.
Because the stories and the characters were rock solid. So you didn't care that that's obviously a rubber prosthetic on his face. You didn't care.
No.
Your shit, that's obviously cardboard and Christmas lights. I can tell from... You don't care. Because the story is engaging. Special effects, great. It's cool to look neat.
Sure.
I saw that dinosaur Jurassic Park in theaters, and I thought, whoa, I was blown away.
But that's not why you love it so much. I mean, yes, the effects are cool, but you were there because
adds a little bit.
It adds to what is already an excellent story.
It's a twist of lemon in my iced tea.
Yes.
But if you bring me a bottle of piss, that squirt of lemon isn't going to turn that piss into iced tea.
That is correct.
This is piss.
This is piss. With a squirt of lemon. But yeah, so when we do our reviews and we say this is a really bad movie or a really bad show, that's usually what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm more saying this failed. It failed on a technical level. It failed with fans and audiences and critics or whatever. It failed. As opposed to when I come on and say, I hated this. That's subjective. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
I hated this for whatever reasons.
Yeah, and I can give another example or an analogy. I went to a show with my friend. I won't say the name of the band, but it's one of her favorites, not one of mine. I sat there. I'm like, okay, it's pretty good. To me, it was like, whatever, because it's not my genre. It's not my style of music. But for the hundreds of people that were there, because they do like that style of music, they all went bananas.
Oh, sure.
Which told me, okay, it didn't speak to me, but it was obviously good because it spoke to this 400 people.
Right.
So it was a good show, just because I didn't get it. Or the same thing with Arcane, which I talked all kinds of shit about.
Right. You were not a fan of Arcane. You didn't like it. That's not to say it wasn't technically good or it wasn't a success, because those who did like it clearly really liked it.
Right. So it's okay if it wasn't made for me. I can go through and point out technical things that, no, this is stupid. And a lot of them might be opinions. For somebody else, sure. This is why it wasn't stupid, and this is why I think that. That's a perfectly fine argument to have.
Sure.
But whether I liked it or not is not a measure of whether it was good or not.
Correct.
So,
same thing here. So, for those of you who liked The Acolyte, that's fine. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you were able to find something that you enjoy. I did not like it. I thought it was awful.
it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
And I can also tell you that, that on a technical level, it's awful. This is some of the worst storytelling, some of the worst characters. I hated everything about this.
Yeah. None of it made sense. We don't need to react. You can go watch our fucking Acolyte.
Yeah. You can watch the full. If you want to watch the full review,
we'll go into deep about why this is stupid.
But seriously, what do you think constitutes good or bad TV or cinema, as opposed to rather, I like it, I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to find out in the comments below. So let us know what you think.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, do that. All right. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you're new. All right, we'll see you in another episode. Later.